Hello and welcome to Shine on Women. I am Genesis Haycrick, your business empowerment coach, and I am here today with Cara Price, who's a phenomenal, amazing woman that I had the privilege of meeting at the Declare conference in October, and it was just such a pleasure to meet her, and I knew that we had to connect further. So here we are on a podcast, and I am just so excited that she's here with me because she's got some really inspirational material and content and a great story to be able to share with you ladies today. She's a Christian food blogger. She's a mother and a lover of life. So thank you so much for being here today, Cara.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Genesis.
Yeah, it's just wonderful having like-minded Christian women on this podcast and just hearing all of the stories of where we all come from and the things that we've been through and just sharing the ways that we can make such a difference in the lives of others. So thank you again for being here and being a guest on this show.
Absolutely.
So you're a blogger and you have a blog and you've had it for a little while. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah, I've had my blog for a couple of years now, The Nourished Body and Soul. And I started that out of a love of creating healthy food and also just a passion for writing about Jesus. And I just merged the two together to make body and soul connect. And I think it's a great way for women, and I have men readers too, just to delve deeper into their identity in Christ while, eating healthy and living a fulfilling lifestyle.
I love that. And that's kind of bringing everything together full circle.
Right. Yeah.
So how did you get started with your blog? What would you say enticed you to, just write that first blog?
Yeah. So like I said, I've always been passionate about writing and I knew I wanted to pursue that further. And in 2008, I think it was, I got really, really sick and I suffered for 3 years with just debilitating pain. And through that, found out that a way of healthy whole eating basically was a cure to what I was suffering with. I discovered I had some severe allergies, food allergies that had just crept up in my system and was having some issues with adrenal and thyroid and stress control. And because of that, I started writing basically recipes just to remake foods that we were eating in our household so that they were a bit healthier, but also removed some ingredients that I couldn't eat. And as I did that, I began to find that everything I was creating and looking up was falling under a category known to a lot of people as paleo, but I like to just call it whole foods that God created. And so pretty much that's what my blog focuses on, are recipes that are grain-free and dairy-free and just made of whole foods. So I just wanted to merge the two together. I knew that God had called me to reach out and help women basically to be able to eat healthy and also just to delve deeper into their identity in Christ. I feel like our identity is what drives us. It's what creates us and makes us do what we do. And so just merging those two together. So I started that blog about 2 years ago and it's been great.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And, there's so many people that experience a lot of those same issues. Like for me personally, I have an underactive thyroid. I also have Hashimotos disease. And
that's what I have. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's something that I struggle with on a daily basis. And,
Right.
With the energy levels, with the symptoms that go along with it, even at one point, I was on the wrong dosage in terms of the levothyroxine I was taking. And my hair was falling out. I was breaking out. I couldn't seem to lose weight to be at my normal weight and just all of these horrible things I was having to deal with. So I think that certainly changing up your diet can have a huge influence on the way that you operate. I mean, and I'm sure you've heard this before, your body's like a machine, so anything that you put into it, it's going to make a difference.
Right.
If you're putting bad stuff into your body, it's going to have a negative effect on it. So I think that what you have here is tremendously valuable. So maybe you could describe working with a few people or, some of the people that you've shared information with, clients that you've possibly worked with in the past or individuals that maybe some of your readers What maybe are some of the things outside of like just the recipes? What maybe is some of the insight that they could look forward to in reading your blogs?
So basically my devotions I try to focus them towards identity in Christ because like I said before, I feel like that's our driving force.
Mm-hmm.
Who we believe we are determines what we do. And so that's pretty much where I focus that. And I hear from readers all the time that I've given new light to a subject that they didn't think about it in that direction. And so it's great to hear from people that they're growing that way. And then also in regards to the recipes, I do things like a month-long recipe that is a full week's worth of meals, and it comes with a grocery list. And then I've got like 30-minute meals. So things that make people's lives easier. It makes it easier basically for them to eat healthy.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a busy working mother.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of those, right. And a lot of those have, tips to prep your food ahead. And we do that at our house a lot. We make things ahead, like on Sunday, and just make 5 days of meals. And it works great, especially for busy nights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so needed today.
Yeah, definitely.
So where would you like to take this? What are some of your goals for 2018?
So my goals this year would be I'd like to do an ebook. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that exactly, if it's going to be solely a cookbook, or if it's going to incorporate both items together. I'm thinking that I might incorporate some recipes along with maybe a Bible study. And then I'd just like to increase my speaking engagements this year, because I feel like that the Lord's given me a message for women that they need to base their identity in Him and stop looking at what the world expects of them, because that driving force of what the world expects is always going to be a letdown, and as working women who have to juggle family and, outside engagements, friends, church, whatever kind of commitments you have, it's very difficult to just keep striving for approval and striving for what the world says you've got to be. In this Pinterest perfect world, we all feel like we've got to have this everything together. And when we operate from a position of our identity in Christ, it's much easier to operate from the position of knowing that we are accepted and we have a relationship with Him, versus a position of feeling like we have to work for approval and gaining the approval of man in order to go further.
Yes, that is so true. And there's so much great thought into what you just shared. And I think too, just having that sense of peace that we don't have when we don't have Christ in our life.
Right.
It's, that is everything at the end of the day, knowing that we will never measure up. We will never be good enough in the eyes of the world, because it's always keeping up with something that is unattainable, unreachable.
Right.
When Christ is next to us, there for us for everything that we go through, every step of the way, every action, every task, all of those things behind the scenes. And it is so important for us to be able to know that those things matter, and they do matter. But a lot of the time, as we, had talked about at the Declare conference, they go unseen, and we feel like we're devalued because of, it not being exposed in the world globally. Like everybody doesn't know about it, and we're not famous because of all of this extra work that goes on internally in our house. And I think not having that peace just keeps us and prevents us from being who we could be as someone that reaches their fullest capacity and potential in Christ. And He will lead us in any situation that we feel like we're challenged with. And like I said, I think that there is so much great thought that you had just put into that answer, because when we go day to day, we can feel like, oh, this situation's monotonous and I'm going through the progressions, but it's not making a difference. But when we realize that all of those little things don't matter in comparison to the greatness of what our identity means, being in Christ,
right,
it can change our entire well-being. if we are able to have that realization and we're able to be, we're able to understand the truth, essentially.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really exciting. And I think it's absolutely attainable for you to do a book and for you to reach, a lot of people, and for really anything that you set out to do. I think you've got the right mindset. I think you've got the right intentions. You've already got a lot of really great things going on. So you're right there, you're right where you need to be. It's just taking the next steps in action and creating the content and the material. So very cool stuff. So if you were looking for potentially to work with some clients or possibly just connect with some other individuals, who specifically would you like to reach out to?
Well, I do know that I definitely communicate better to women. I do have a lot of men readers, and that's perfectly fine. I know a lot of them are the chef in their family, so to speak, and they're the ones that cook and they look at my recipes, and that's great. I definitely feel called to women, and I'm always looking to encourage people to just be constantly faithful and consistent in one direction. I think as women, a lot of times, now that the New Year's coming, I know people are thinking about getting healthy and changing the way they eat, changing their lifestyle. And I think what happens is that we try something for a short period of time and we think, oh, it's not working. Or frankly, we get tired, or we get busy and there's just not enough time to prepare and think ahead to what we're going to eat or how we're going to exercise or how we're going to get things done. And I just think that just encouraging people to be faithfully consistent over a long period of time, because that's really what changes things. And I believe that when we do that, God is honored just by our actions. So yeah, people could, could connect with me through my website or through Facebook. And I'd love to just be able to encourage people in regards to just being consistent.
Sure. Yeah, that's really great. And consistency is the key to any successful endeavor, right?
Right, exactly. And definitely even for women as business owners, it's difficult if you have just opened a business or have started a blog or have started some sort of home-based business that you're doing. It's difficult to get started and it's difficult to find balance in life, and I think that all comes back to what you're encouraging women to find balance and, just being rooted in that identity and being consistent, because you'll look back over a period of time and you'll see how far you've come, and that's what makes it worth it. And it can get difficult in the midst of it, in the midst of the work, but you just have to keep going and keep working.
So how could people, Cara, get in touch with you if they wanted to connect a little bit further? What is your website? And then what else can they do to get plugged in?
Yeah, my website is The Nourished Body and Soul. It's all spelled out, thenourished.bodyandsoul.com. And there's a submission form on there. I think it's under the speaking tab, but people can submit through there, and it'll be an email straight to me. And then also have Facebook group, Instagram, and Pinterest. And so that's an easy way to connect on there, because I'm always posting on there and getting feedback and discussion with viewers with readers.
Great.
Yeah.
And then you have a little giveaway that you like to offer individuals that would like to connect further. Would you like to share a little bit about that as well?
Sure. So if anyone likes my Facebook page within the next 48 hours and sends me a message directly that they heard me on your podcast, I'm going to do a giveaway of a little box of healthy goodies, like snacks to go. And they'll basically be whole foods based. Some of my favorite items in there that are really great to take with you running errands, running in the car, if you need a quick lunch and you can't stop and get lunch. So yeah, I'm going to send that giveaway to, I will just enter everybody into a drawing for everyone who connects with me through Facebook over the next 48 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Something I'd like to personally get.
Maybe I'll send you one too.
Awesome. Well, it's been wonderful talking with you today, Cara. Is there anything else you'd like to leave the listener with? Any final thoughts that you'd like to share with them today?
Sure. Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone again to just be consistent and just to know that God has plans for you and He is faithful and He will work everything out for your good. You just have to trust Him and you have to just keep walking in that belief and that identity in Him.
Yes. Oh, I love that. So good. Such great food for thought. And so thank you, ladies, for listening today. Thank you for tuning in to Shine on Women. This podcast is it's rejuvenating for me. I hope it was rejuvenating for you, and just connecting with people like Cara. Please look at her website, connect with her, participate in the giveaway, and we look forward to listening to our next episode. Thank you again for tuning in to Shine on Women.
Thank you, Genesis.
Thanks.
Bye.